Maseches Chagigah Daf Beis. The Rambam, in the beginning of Hilchas Chagigah, says that there are three mitzvahs. The one is Mechuyev B'Aliyos the Regel, Riah, Chagigah, and Simcha. Riah is Sheyir Ba'Azorah, Yovoi, Imoy Korban Oilo, Misha Bol Azorah, Lohebi Imoy Korban Oilo, Loidaish also mitzvahs asay, is also even the lois asay of Loyir Panerekom. And the Rambam says one is not loika on the lav of loyir upon the reikam because it's a lav shein by maseh. The Mari Korkus asks, what's the understanding in the Rambam? Why is the issa loyir upon the reikam considered a lav shein by maseh, although the actual lav is ein by maseh because he's not bringing a korban, since he's over when he comes into the Azorah, it should be considered a lav sheyesh b'meisa, and he compares it to that the Rambam says in Hilchas Bias Mikdash that if someone is nitma in the Azorah and he's shor kadesh hishtir hishtachavo, he gets malchus, although that he's in the Azorah betumah is ein b'meisa, didn't do any meisa, since the Issa came through the Asiya Mikar, that he came into the Azorah, that's considered a lav sheyesh b'maisa. So over here also, the Miri Korkus asked that although that he doesn't bring a korban ein b'maisa, but since the Issa came through the fact that he came into the Azorah, it should be considered a lav sheyesh b'maisa. Remember, the Chagigah is Mayrich in similar base. Many steers, if such a case is considered lav sheyesh b'maisa, lav she'ein b'maisa, and it compares it to putting on a beggar of dal kanfis without tzitzis, do you say that since one's only mechuyev to put on tzitzis once he puts on the beggar, it's considered ein by ma'isa, or since the putting on the beggar is mechayev, it's considered yesh by ma'isa? So the Mari Korkus has many truths to answer this kashi. He says the issa of coming in betumen to Azor is different because since it usually comes through a ma'isa when he's tomei before he comes to the Azor, and then the actual knisa is with the ma'isa. Therefore, even in such a situation over here when he's nitma in the Azor, still, nevertheless, the general lav is considered a lav sheish b'ma'isa. And Mari Korkus has another teretz that kol zman he's in the Azorah without bringing a korban, it's not considered lav sheish b'maisa, because he could always tell someone to bring a korban into the Azorah, and only when he leaves without bringing a korban, then it's considered he's over the lav. But the actual leaving is not the isim. Is when he's the Azorah without a korban, and it's always a lav shein b'maisa. And Mari Korkus says another teretz that since his coming into the Azorah was a mitzvah, so therefore it's not considered an aver to get malchus. And he says another teretz that since yesh lo tashlumin kol shiva, so therefore it's considered ein by ma'isa because he could misaken the law of kol shiva. Ein Reb Chaim begins there grach it's Mayrich on the Rambam, and he declares why is it considered a lav shein b'ma'isa is that he's reikom. And that's considered the ein b'maisa, or the issa is the real azara. So be'etzim, that there's nichlas azara that a korban is a maisa, and the only reason why it's considered lav shein b'maisa is because it's tashlum kol shiva, like the Mari Korkus says. Ayin Reb Ruven in Sukkah that he explains that there's two ways to understand the issa of loyir upon the reikom and who adin. The other case that the Chagigah discusses, when you put on a beggar of dal kanfis without tzitzis, is the pshat that the chiyuv to put on tzitzis is a din in the ikr, the vicious habeggar, that we have to wear a beggar's dal kanfis with tzitzis, or it's a second step that once you have a beggar's dal kanfis on you, there's a chiyuv to put on tzitzis. And the same thing by the issa loyir upon eikam is a pshat that it's a taich in the way one comes into the Azor. One comes into the Azor with a korban, then it could be it's a yesh b'maisa. However, Reuven says, you see from the Rambam, not like that. That it's a second step after. Once somebody's in the Azor, there's a chiyuv to bring a korban, so therefore it's considered ein b'maisa. And ikka kasha of the Mari Korkus, the Chor could answer in different halach according to what's mavur and shuri in Talmud. He discusses a steer in Rambam that the Rambam writes that chosma b'kurl, if one is chaysim a poro that's dosh with curl, he gets malchus because akimas v'sayim have a maisa, and b'dibura is avid maisa, that through his dibur there was a chasima on the poro. And tzarechim, because the Rambam says that by tmura it's considered a lav shein by maseh, even though there's also akimas v'sayim have a maseh. So why isn't Tamura also considered a yesh by maseh if the Rambam holds akimas v'sayim have a maseh? So Rabbi Berman says the answer to this kasha is that be'emes it's mavur tremendous yisoid, which is spoken out in Brachas Tav Lamed Beis, that there's two separate gedorim in a maseh. There's halacha of a maseh mitzad the asiyah of the gavra, that the gavras are doing in this maseh, and there's another halacha mitzad the chefza of the maseh, that there is an asiyah. And he explains that the Chanda Shloimeh says that a maseh ba'oinus is not a maseh, it's only mitzad the asiyah of the gavra, but mitzad the chefza of the maseh is considered a maseh, and that's what we find that locha is yaharag val yavor, because the chefza of the maseh is considered a maseh. So according to this, Barbara explains that's the answer to the Rambam, that bechosma b'koil there's a maseh mitzad the gavra because akimas v'sayim have a maseh, and the chefza of the asiyah is a maseh because b'diburis have a maseh, that there was a chasima at the time that the parah was dosh. However, by Tamura, although akimas v'sayim have a maseh, and you have a maseh mitzad hagavra, nevertheless you don't have a maseh mitzad the chefza, and therefore it's considered a lav she'ein by maseh. So according to this, you could say the answer to the Rambam that when someone's nichnas lazor betum, although has a maseh mikor, that's only considered maseh mitzad the gavra. However, the chefza of the iser is considered a maseh because the fact that he's in the Azor B'tumah, the fact that he's in the Azor B'tumah is a chefz of maseh, and that's the ikar iser, that he shouldn't be Azor B'tumah. So you have a tziruf of a maseh mitzad gavro, that he came in Mikara, and at the time of the actual iser, there is a maseh that he's in the Azor B'tumah. However, by loyer upon a rekam, although you have a maseh mitzad gavra that he came into the Azor at the time that he's in the Azor without a korban, the issa is not being in the Azor. The issa is that he didn't bring the korban, and that's also a shlila of his asiyah. So therefore, it's considered an ein by maseh. Moving further on, the Mishnah says hakol chayovim b'riyah kol chutz mechereshed v'koton, and a koton that's a gil chinuch is mechuyev in riyah. Mechuyev Rashi and Tosfos in a cotton shagil the chinuch. Tosfos says he's mechuyev in riyah and he's mechuyev in a korban as well. Even though he's not mechuyev in the korban, but he brings a korban adova. However, Tosfos brings from Rashi that he comes la'azoro, he's mechuyev in riyah, but he does not bring a korban. And the Chayim Medayik and the Rambam also, that the Rambam holds, like she does Rashi, that he's mechuyev in riyah upon him, but he does not bring a korban. Ein the stipling sukkah that's matmiyah on Rashi and the Rambam, how could you mechanech him in a situation where you don't have the mitzvah b'shleimus and the ritva, in the beginning of sukkah, that the mitzvah of chinuch is specifically when the mitzvah is done b'shleimus, and therefore one has to mechanech his child in a sukkah that's less than chav amah. He says it could be the Rambam argues in the ritva, and he says it could be that specifically chav amah, which is in the guf hamitzvah. Over here it's a tanaim in atzad, so therefore one can mechanech in mitzvah's riyah without the mitzvah of avos korban. Kind of sefer oil chayisov mechaburas dirshu, that we answer b'siyat d'shmaya according to what's mavur in the Peskarov in the beginning of Erechin, that explains that's mavur. In the Yishalmi brought in Tosfos before, that says that noshim v'taf are only potter from riyah's ponim b'korban, but they are mechuyev in riyah, and it's learned out from Hakel. And Peskarov explains that they would learn out from Hakel is a new chiyuv of riyah's ponim without a korban. And however, the ikar chiyuv of riyah with the korban noshim and taf potter. So according to this, you could say that Moshe hated the stipler's kasha because we are mechanech the child in the mitzvah of riyah b'shleimus, and he's only royal chinuch in the second halacha of a choivas riyah that's dumya the hakel, but the mitzvah's riyah with a korban, which is the ikar halacha of mitzvah's riyah, is not roy for. And the Sefer El Chayesor, we spoke out another mahalach, the answer the Rambam, according to a svarov from El Yisfei Zechon Vachu, which mentioned the shir from Psachim Daf Kuf Tes, that he explains that there's a tremendous discussion in the Meforshim by the Kotan that was in scandal in the middle of Sfiras Omer if you could continue counting or not. And Sorchin, according to Shidas Rashi, in Brachas Daf Memches, that the mitzvah of chinuch is on the father, not on the child. So that the Kotan counted before his bar mitzvah wasn't his mitzvah, it was the father's mitzvah. So how could he continue counting after his bar mitzvah? So Eli's face said that if you learn like Rashi, that the mitzvah of Chinuch is on the father, not on the child, it's tzorchi, and how could a cotton do the ikka mitzvah Sfiyas Omer? The ikka mitzvah of Sfiyas Omer is to mitzaref all the days of the Omer. And if his asiyah doesn't have a din of a mitzvah, so how can mitzvah to have a shleimus of a mitzvah Sfiyas Omer? So Beli said, Akorchi, you see, that's a din michsuyim in Sfiyas Omer that Chazal Masakin, that the asiyah of the cotton should have a din of a mitzvah mitzaratzmai. So therefore, since his asiyah has a din of a mitzvah, so therefore it could mitzdarif for a Sfira Shalom, and therefore we can continue counting even after he's a gadol. So according to this Yesod, you could say over here as well that since the chiyuv of Riah's ponim the korban is not two different mitzvahs, rather the din is that the Riah's ponim should be with a korban. And since the mitzvah of Riah's ponim is the father's mitzvah, and as if the father's doing the mitzvah, so the fact that the son will bring a korban is not meshech shayach to the father's mitzvah b'chal, so it's not shayach. For there to be the ikir chinuch on mitzvah of bringing a korban with the Riah's ponim, since the mitzvah is the father's mitzvahs, so the was korban that the son will do is not meshech shayach to the mitzvah b'chal, so it doesn't pass mitzvah chinuch on the korban Riah b'chal.